everybody, I have a brand new list for you, and this one comes at the request of Patreon supporter Caleb. Caleb wanted to know what my top 5 monster movies are, and that's what you're in for right now. Like you often see with a lot of my ranked lists, these aren't necessarily the best monster movies of all time, but rather my favorite, the 5 that I would put on right this very moment if I had the chance to. So counting up from 5 right now, let's start with my number 5. It's Cloverfield. I love me a good monster and/or horror movie, and I also have great respect for a movie that uses the found footage shaky cam technique as well as Matt Reeves does in Cloverfield. During the tamer parts of the movie, he essentially puts you right at the party with the main characters, and he lets you get to know them and their dynamic. And that then makes some of the more horrific moments infinitely more meaningful because you understand and care about this group of characters. He really does make you feel trapped on Manhattan with this creature, and then he gets you looking over your shoulder the rest of the way through thanks to those smaller parasites. That sequence with Lizzie Kaplan is still one of my favorite kill scenes of all time. It is chilling, it's got a lasting effect, and it's just captured so well. Next up on my list, we're moving on to number 4, and that's where I've got The Fly. The 1958 version will always chill me to the bone at the very end, but right now I am talking about David Cronenberg's movie. Phenomenal effects and performances contribute to why this movie holds up so well today, and a good deal of the imagery still makes me super squeamish no matter how many times I've seen it. It's a disturbing reminder that we're all just flesh and bones, but it also gets under my skin as a story about a somewhat endearing guy, perfectly played by Jeff Goldblum, who loses what makes him human, and the fact that Seth knows it in the movie makes the whole scenario even more horrifying and upsetting. And then add in Gina Davis's Veronica, who basically has to watch someone she loved completely lose himself and just waste away, and it makes it all even more heartbreaking. Now, for my number 3 spot, I'm talking about The Thing. Yet again, I have to kick this entry off with a big applause for these effects. You're gonna also hear me say something similar when I talk about my number 2 pick, but as crazy as this sounds, I kind of can't get enough of the sensation of being trapped with something so violent, and in this case, something that essentially hides in plain sight. I just find it makes me feel even more helpless as a viewer than if I was, let's say, watching a monster bulldoze through its victims. And as a slasher movie fan since I was a teeny tiny child, I feel like I was conditioned to really believe in the idea of safety in numbers and never splitting up, and then I eventually move on to see The Thing, and that concept basically becomes your worst enemy. It really just turned my world upside down the first time I saw it, and the movie's held up just so beautifully ever since. I really can't get enough of it, and now I love me some Aliens, but Alien is my favorite of that franchise, and it's also my second favorite monster movie. I love the sci-fi deep space haunted house feel, and then of course the introduction of a wildly unique nightmarish creature in the xenomorph was nothing short of genius, and the creature is now deservedly a genre icon. As though the film's tagline, of course, "In space no one can hear you scream," doesn't immediately put you on edge, then Ridley Scott and his team also unleash a ruthless, sinister threat in a confined space. The way it stalks its prey, the time Scott takes to build that dread, it lets your mind just run wild with horrifying possibilities before anything even happens. I also can't talk about Alien and not bring up my favorite scene, the chestburster scene. It's almost like you could feel John Hurt's pain in the moment, and the fact that deep down you know there is nothing anyone can do to help him makes that moment just so hard to shake, and oddly enough, I can't get enough of it. Now, you guys probably saw this coming, but my favorite monster movie and my favorite movie of all time is Jurassic Park. I've seen it more times than I can count, and it never ceases to amaze me how well these effects hold up. It is a stunning mixture of terror and awe, and I really do believe it's that combination of pure wonder and horror that makes Jurassic Park speak to me more than any other movie out there. seeing it truly changed the game for me. It put me on this career path. It's where I started to develop a real respect for high quality entertainment and just all the time and effort and creativity required to make a true masterpiece with the power to transport viewers to a new reality and truly make them believe. I've just got endless respect for Jurassic Park, and I also take great pride in my passion for it and the sheer joy I get from sharing that passion with other people. So that's why it's at the top of this list. That's why it's at the top of my best movies of all time. I love it so much. That's it. That is my top 5 monster movies for you. A huge thank you to Caleb for making this suggestion. As always, though, I toss it to you guys. Hit that comment section below. Share your list right there. I do want to know what made the cut. Another huge thanks to everybody out there watching this video. Stay tuned because I have more movie coverage coming your way real soon.